When you think about animes, you think about the animation, the story, the drama, the relationships, the OST, the seiyus. You think about all this stuff, the lore. When you're watching an anime, you don't really think about one important aspect of the anime, and that is the life lessons. We can take away a lot from animes, but when it comes to this anime called Nippon Sangoku, the Three Nations of the Crimson Sun, it gives you more life lessons in one episode than maybe a 100 anime put together, other than One Piece. One Piece has a shitload of life lessons, and that's why I enjoy this anime so much. Because while the life lessons are very important, they're also very, how do I say, flippant. There's a lot of times where I just paused and was like, hold up, why did she do that? Why did she have to interfere for a couple pennies? Like, I get it that people were getting beat up, but when you have to outweigh the consequences, like, are you really gonna put your life on the line for a couple pennies that people didn't want to shill out? Now, maybe these people are broke or poor. It's just the way life works. Now, you can't save everyone, but because of the main MC's wife. Okay, so her name is right here, Saki. Because of Saki, I don't want to just spoil it and give it away. I'm trying to give you my reaction to what I think she did was extremely folly. Sometimes wisdom turns to folly and vice versa. And that's exactly how Saki is viewed by me. She's very foolish, but her foolishness has made the wheels of fate turn. So her foolishness was daring to disrespect this dude right here. He's the state. He's pretty much like the boss. He's pretty much like Kim Jong-un in Japan. And so she dare defy one of his henchmen right here to collect taxes. Now, even though she was okay, so here's a comment that I really want to read from one of my close friends here. Well, he's like family at this point. Hebe. So he goes to say, like, this is like no context, okay? This is no context. Saki deserved to get beheaded, and this is kind of like spoiler, all right? But it's not really a spoiler, because once you watch the episode, you're gonna feel the weight. You're gonna feel the energy. You're gonna feel the life lesson, okay? Saki deserved to get beheaded for being disrespectfully disobedient. Just because she was correct doesn't make her actions right. And that's absolutely correct. I think Saki was extremely foolish. She was following her own path to justice. She pretty much wanted to be a vigilante. And even if a vigilante is right, that doesn't mean she is correct. Oh, man. So that's life lesson number one is your death may or may not create a revolution. It may not even change the world as you know it. But because she was married to, well, I would say an up and coming revolutionist, an up and coming genius, Mitsume. If she married any other dude, like, just think about this, okay? If she married any other dude, he'd probably be wailing and crying and just being emotional, not being stable when he talked to the one that pretty much killed her. Let's see what we can find the dude. Yeah, Denki. Yeah. So Denki's pretty much Kim Jong-un, and he's the one for killing off his wife. Okay. And if it wasn't for the fact that he was cool, calm, and collected, he wouldn't have gotten his revenge like right there and then against the accuser of his wife. So he was able to remedy some of that pain that he felt knowing that his wife was beheaded. And then he was able to like get him killed off too. So, yes, there's a lot of illogical and foolish things that go on, but it goes to show that even foolish and illogical things will start a fire. Okay, hold on. Let me see. There's more comments here I want to read. What begins as a blessing between the MC, Misumi, and his wife Saki It seems like a good marriage in the making between the low-ranking official and the girl who nonchalantly whines about reason or logic. More or less, Atoro's knowledge of Japan history is confoundable, but it's what the fuck? But it lords like home affairs. Denki of the Taro family who governs their small town. Really? Just a small little town? It feels as if he could not question corruption right at their faces. Even more so, it's one of the 3 clan families that have absolutely stronghold wherever they go. That Saki could not just stand and fight back against the men's whimpering. Still, Saki's frustrations against her own husband. For him to have courage, it takes one to know another better. Like with the couple here. Yeah, and then this is pretty much a story of courage. And that's what this sucks. That's why this sucks so badly. Is because if Misumi just had some balls, just like his wife, if he had some balls to even control her from like pretty much spurting out, you know, if he just had balls to be like, look, calm down, I'll take care of this, and find a different, alternate scenario. But then because he would have had balls, he wouldn't have never made an enemy of Denki, the head of state. So you can see here, there's 2 sides of the coin. It's not just black and white. There's a lot going on here. But in my opinion, he should have just had courage, like his wife said, right from the get-go. It shouldn't have taken a death to finally go into commando mode. You know, this dude is pretty much becoming Reacher in North Korea. But with a sound mind, with logic, reason, a shitload of common sense, and just a fire in his soul for revenge for his dead wife. That's what the Punisher was. That's who Reacher was. You know, someone who's out for revenge no matter what, no matter the consequences. But this dude right here, from just my point of view from the first look of episode 1, this dude is pretty much going to be the Reacher of just killing off all these head of states that use their power for corruption. Overall, 10 out of 10 episode. But yeah, I mean, she pretty much got what she deserved. She was messing with a power greater than what she was. But it was a foolish and folly that needed to happen. You know, it was the catalyst that needed to be made. You know, despite it being a huge error, despite it looking dumb, you know, despite me thinking that he should have stopped her and he should have done something like a better solution. There's always going to be more than one solution to any circumstance. Even though the circumstance looks bleak, even though the circumstance, it feels like your hands are tied or you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Even if you think these things, no, there's always more than one solution. You know, it's just that we are so frustrated. We are so, like, when the situation happens, we are confuzzled, confused, puzzled. You know, we're not thinking straight. We're thinking illogical. That leads us to making horrific decisions. Just like what's his name again? Holy fuck, I can't remember. Misumi, just like Misumi. But anyways, yeah, 10 out of 10 episode 1. Yeah, I guys want to show you one last scene here of how his wife turned out. This was pretty much technicalized all over again. This is like a mesh of so many anime. Let's see now. Yeah, I don't want to get in trouble here. This was the scene that I was like, all right, this anime is gonna be fucking peak. Right here, he's like smoking a cig. It's funny too because in the beginning of the episode, it was like a shitload of propaganda in my opinion, and then they even were like, hey, yeah, don't smoke. Yeah, because of this scene right here, he like smokes a blunt or a cig. So, here's the scene. That famous scene, just her head and her wedding dress. Damn it, why can't I find it? Oh shit. Is this it? Is this the actual one? I don't know. I feel like there's a better one. Oh man. Let me see if I can find it. That's how I want to end this shit. See episode 1. Where is it? Damn it! Where are you? I think it was the last page. Yeah, this right here. Oh, that was towards the end. Yeah, that's towards the end. All right, so like right at the end. So where the credits are at. Boom, right here. Man, that's diabolical, man. That's what you get for being. That's what happens, man. You get beheaded. You're not patient. You want to be a vigilante. You want to stand up for what's right. For what's right is not always going to be correct.